Hello and welcome to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm your host Lance, here with my other co-host Matt. Today we are brought to you by The Animes Show. Find them on Facebook and Instagram. They are a source of information that you can be up to date on anything and everything anime, and they're a great page. Make sure you give them a follow just like you would give us a follow. Today, we are going to be covering Season 1 of Mob Psycho 100. And before we get started, we like to introduce our adult beverages of choice. Today, I will be drinking a new Riff single barrel and chasing that back with a new Glarus spotted cow. What about you, Matt?
Today, I'm going to have a Knob Creek Kentucky straight bourbon. And then I will also have a spotted cow.
So, Matt, you want to give us a quick synopsis on this show?
Yeah. For Mob Psycho 100, Season 1, it's 12 episodes following along Shigeo, who is also known as Mob. Mob is your typical nobody. He isn't popular, he doesn't get good grades, and he's terrible at sports. He is, however, an Esper who has had these psychic abilities since he was a young boy, basically as long as he can remember. In this season, you follow him in an attempt to become popular, to get attention from the girl he likes, essentially trying to woo her over with his popularity. He also comes into contact with other Espers, and then they will start fighting an evil organization called Claw. Yeah, that's basically all that happens in this season.
Yeah, that puts everything in a nutshell right there.
Yeah. But Lance, you want to give us that Lance's lessons?
Today's Lance's Lessons is going to be the Japanese word for con artist, and that is sagashi, spelled Sagishi. And sagashi is very appropriate for this episode because one of our main characters, Raygun, is definitely a con artist.
No, he is not a con artist. Completely realistic.
He's spiritual, sorry. That's what separates him between the other telepathics.
Yes, he's just spiritual. He does help people, just maybe not in the manner in which they think he is.
Yeah, this Sagashi. Okay, let's just jump right into favorite characters because I need to go ahead and steal him real quick.
Okay.
I don't know about you, but Raygun is definitely my favorite character in season 1, and that's mainly because this dude is just funny at all times. Like this show, I think comedy comes from a little bit of Mob and his awkwardness.
Yep.
But I feel like the heavy lifting definitely comes from Raygun.
Yeah, especially like at the end where he's just the Esper dropkick?
Oh, where he's like cheap shotting everybody at all times, and yeah,
and it's like, don't fight people, but you just kicked him.
Yeah, they said that under their breath. Yeah, that was super funny. Yeah, he's super like every time like they go into that like freeze mode and like this is one of Raygun's special abilities, and it's just some stupid shit and like. Yeah, he's pours salt on his fist, and then he punches them and knocks them out while they're not looking. And
yep. And then it's when he's trying to get rid of the one evil spirit, and he's like, wait, not all salts get rid of spirits?
Right, in the very beginning. I think that was the first episode.
Yep.
Yeah, because they were taking care of that ugly-faced girl.
Yep.
Which was also... That was... Immediately, I knew he was going to be my favorite character right then and there, because in that very first episode, when that woman wants this evil spirit taken care of, and he's like, yeah, we'll take care of that, and maybe they'll cure your ugly face or something like that. I'm like, damn, he really went there. And then her boyfriend's like, there's not, or either her or her boyfriend's like, there's nothing wrong with her face.
It's like, all right, man, whatever you say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's he was definitely probably going to be my favorite as well. And then, he tries the whole time, except for at the end, saying how he has these powers. And then at the end, he's like, those powers weren't mine. They were all stolen from Mob. Like, he gave them to me.
Yeah, he knew, like, not right away, but he did eventually figure it out. And
yeah,
that was fun. And he's also, like, I don't want to say, like, he's got a good heart, but, like, his teachings, like...
His morals are
good. There we go.
Minus the con artist-esque of him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got some cognitive dissonance going on where he's just not practicing what he preaches all the time.
No, he's a great person. No problems with him. And then I guess for me, I kind of wanted it to be Ritsu, but then at the end where he just kind of got all full of himself, I didn't really appreciate. I didn't like that. Maybe Goda, which was the leader of the Body Improvement Club.
Oh yeah.
all his interactions were probably hilarious. I enjoyed him. But he's too much of a side character to really be like, yeah, that's my favorite character.
That's like, true. But at the same time, he was kind of my second favorite character. And it's because of that. Like, I don't know if you want to, do you want to claim that as your favorite? Or, well, I mean.
No, I'm not going to claim him as my favorite. I think I'm going to go second favorite with him. But you kind of want, so why is he your second favorite?
To me, he was also just as funny, and like just the mindset of just working out. Like, we got leg days today, and we all got to work out. And like, he's super supportive over Shigeo.
Yep.
Like, dude's passing out all the time, and he's just so super nice and supportive, and helping him out and bringing him to that room where the telepathy people are. And hey, watch over this guy. He passed out again.
Well, they were They were occupying the Body Improvement Club, because you're thinking of the telepathy group individuals.
I'm saying just the crew that was there, because, I mean, that's still that same crew, but, you know, they just joined the Body Improvement Club just so they have a place to...
to hang out, be a part of a club. Yeah.
Right. But, I don't know, just his, like, aggressive supportiveness for Body Improvement and his crew.
Yep.
Just wanting to encourage everybody to continue to grow. I mean, that's kind of what you need in a workout environment.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And then he was working out with Ogawara, the guy who gets caught. Onigawara. There we go. And so it's willing to help him out even though he's a thug. Mm-hmm. And he was trying to use Mob. I thought it was really good. But if I had to pick one person as my favorite, I guess I would go with Hanazawa.
Which one was Hanazawa?
Hanazawa was the guy from the other middle school, the Black Vinegar middle school. The guy that gets all of his hair chopped off, and then he's wearing the super tall wig for a while.
Mm-hmm. The other Esper.
Yep.
Yeah, I always referred to him as Teru.
Yeah, that's what his nickname is.
Oh, yeah. What is this? This character sheet says Teruki is his first name. Hanazawa is his last name.
Yep. But of course, you know, I read the manga, so they're going to call him Hanazawa for the most part, so that's how I remember him.
Talk to them as their family name.
Yep. So he was probably my favorite person because he had the most arcing of an individual. He had the most character development as an individual. He was also the most aware of how to interact with people, unlike Mob, where it's like he had no idea sarcasm. He had no idea about really anything. And then you've got Teru or Hanazawa, where he knew, besides being the jackass in the beginning when we first meet him, he knew that, you know, this is how you actually have to interact with people, where, you know, they're meeting with the rich guy in the apartment building. Mm-hmm. And
with the Awakening Club.
Yep. And he's just like, I'm introducing us by lifting up Mob using his psychic abilities, because he knew that the only way this guy was actually going to talk to him was by showing him that they're psychics. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so he was my favorite character for the whole thing.
And I 100% agree with you on him being the most like character developing character. That sounded stupid. But yeah, he had the most character development because he was this like hard-headed, narrow-minded person in the first couple episodes, and then he gets his ass kicked by Mob, and then he realizes that his powers isn't everything when it comes to like wanting to, you know, control his life or whatever. And then he ends up sharing that information with Mob's brother, Ritsu.
Yep.
Like, hey, don't use your power like this and stuff like that. And then he ends up being like a leader of sorts in the end for that other shitty group of wannabe espers that have the tiniest little bit of powers that are coming from them.
Yeah, I mean, he's willing to, you know, train these. Technically, they are espers, weak ones, but he's like, hey, Claw is going to come after us. We need more people on our side. Mm-hmm. And he has the wherewithal to realize that basically that whole interaction isn't going to be a one-time thing.
Right. Yeah, because we saw at the very end that Sho, the ginger-haired looking guy, just the kid, the son of what I would assume to be the absolute leader of the Claws.
I would agree as well.
They're definitely coming back for more. And that was the 7th division that they took out in season 1?
Yep.
So I just wonder if they're going to show like 1 through 6 in future episodes, or if that was just kind of one of those weird things where like, oh, we're just going to show one random group and like, let's just say it's 7 just to show that like there's lots of other powerful Esper groups out there.
Yeah, I agree. Just kind of future talk for anybody that doesn't know. Mob Psycho has 3 seasons. It is concluded, so the 3rd season is the conclusion.
Oh, really?
Of Mob Psycho.
Okay.
And I would imagine season 2 is probably going to be like the build-up, so they're going to get more friends, more Esper friends, and they're going to start fighting Claw. They're probably going to get through most of Claw, and then the 3rd season, they're going to fight, like all the bad guys, like the top of Claw, and they're going to defeat Claw. Like, if I had to imagine, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I would imagine that to be Sho's dad, the one that was in that vehicle coming back to Tokyo.
Yeah, but just how Sho's acting, I kind of think his dad doesn't have any abilities.
Oh, you think he's kind of just like the supervisor? And
yeah, he's just kind of, he's the rich guy that got everybody together and was able to be smart enough to gather powerful people.
Maybe. I mean, Sho was calling him a dumbass, so...
Yeah, he's kind of being a shithead of a kid.
Right.
And I feel like that's because Sho has these super awesome abilities, to be completely honest, he can reverse any psychic ability. Like, that's insane.
Right. Like, they like scoped in on him and they said, imagine this black hole, but in reverse. And then he was able to use his powers. So I wonder if he's going to be like Asta from Black Clover and he's going to be like the anti-psychic.
Yeah, that'd be interesting concept. So he's obviously super strong, and then he can just kind of teleport, which is insane.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, that's very interesting. I forgot about that. Yeah, okay, so dude's got some abilities that I want to see more out of. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can see him being a future favorite character if they really flush out what he can do. Yeah,
even though he's a super terrible person. And because, I mean, he's got a lot of interest in Ritsu, which is Mob's brother. Mm-hmm. I bet you they're the same age. If I had to guess, they're probably the same age.
As Ritsu, the younger brother?
Yeah. And that's why he has so much interest in him, is because he can see this power within Ritsu, and they're close in age, kind of like Hunter x Hunter, where Killua and Gon, where, yes, Killua is light years ahead of Gon, but he sees this super strong ability, and they're close in age. So he's like, kind of instantly gravitates towards somebody his age.
Yeah, someone to at least bond with.
Yep. So I can see that causing some issues as well, because Ritsu has, the susceptibility of letting power get a hold of him, you could say, where he got that power from Dimple, who helped him awaken himself. And he's like, I don't need you anymore. I can exercise you now.
Yeah. I mean, Dimple was there for him to, like, learn how to release more of his power.
Yep. And control it. Yep.
Because it started out with just, like, accidental powers, and then Dimple was there to, be his catalyst to let it out.
Yep.
And then eventually, after enough usage, he just kind of, got the hang of it.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting to see if something were to happen from that, just because of, I'm drawing a blank on where I was going with that.
Okay, well, but on the same vein with Dimple possessing and helping, I would like to see in season 2 Dimple like possessing Reagan and like unlocking more powers, because in the end we got to see Reagan be able to see Dimple.
Yep, and actually interact with them. That was pretty cool.
Right? So I would like to imagine that if, just on face, if he's able to see a spirit, then maybe he's able to have powers awakened in himself. So I think it's just the start of something that we can see more from Reagan.
I can see that. It would be really good to see, because he's going to be somebody important. Mm-hmm. We know that already. And they can't make him so useless that Mob sees through him, no matter how dense Mob is.
Right.
So they're already starting it with his ability to be able to see Dimple, which, again, it's one of those things where it's like, now you've had this ability, so you get the very basics of what this ability adds. Kind of like Dragon Ball Z with Ki, where it's like, you've seen Ki happen, so now you should be able to use Ki. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of happens a lot, which no real problems with, just kind of noticing. Yeah, I really want to talk about Goda. So when I heard him talking...
Describe Goda real quick.
Goda is the leader of the Body Improvement Club.
Oh, yeah.
Where Lance, you had already said it, where it's like, hey, it's time to do some squats. Like, I just thought of Squat-tober.
Squattober? I've never even heard that. Damn.
And just it's like, oh, this month is going to be all squats. That's all we're doing this month. It's just squat after squat, and that's literally all I thought of for the Body Improvement Club was Squattober.
Oh, that's crazy. I could not imagine doing that all month long.
Yeah, month of squats. It's insane.
Damn. But I mean, if you get through it, man, you're going to have...
Got some quads of steel going on right there. Yeah.
If it's one thing I miss is taking squats seriously for long periods of time and just feeling, I don't know, great about everyday life.
Yep.
Like when you're like outside the gym, like say you're on your off day and you got a day of rest and like you just feel stronger, better, just better. Yep. I don't know. I don't want to say it in a mean way, but like you feel like you're better than others in a way because like you just feel like you have this energy and this power.
I can see that. I kind of miss doing squats twice a week, but that's here nor there.
Yeah, I feel ya. I mean, I don't have a squat rack like not necessarily a real cage like system. Yep. Like you do have access to squats, but I'm squatting with dumbbells, so it's not like I can do anything extreme. At this point, I'm just maintaining. Yeah,
we gotta pump them gains up. Mm-hmm. But to get back into it, did you have any characters you didn't like?
Oh, that's an interesting question because going through this entire anime, outside of Raygun, like initially, I really didn't like anybody at all.
Okay.
And then I had to see more in order to learn to like them.
Yep. I can definitely see that.
Overall, I guess those super newbie telepathics or whatever, the crew that's going to be trained under Teru.
Okay, the awakened ones, so you could say it.
The ones that are trying to get awakened, like they were all kind of annoying.
Okay.
So maybe collectively, I dislike them.
Honestly, I thought they were funny in the sense that, oh, look at these abilities we have. And then, those two brothers can talk to each other through their mind.
Yeah.
And then you've got...
that Pyro Kid.
Yep, the Pyro Kid, where it's like, all he can do is essentially what a lighter can do.
Mm-hmm. Go, that's his name.
Go, yep. And then Ray, where she gets 60% of the time. She has clairvoyance, but then it only works 60% of the time.
Right, so it's not even a true ability.
It's like, okay, cool. You're slightly better than Lucky. Got it.
Right.
And then Takasho, who, oh man, I don't remember. Can he bend spoons? Is he the guy that...
the guy with like the slicked back hair?
Well, it's the slick forward hair.
Yeah. That's what I meant to say.
He's got like the super emo looking hair, but he doesn't quite have... It's not quite like that.
I think he was trying to do that. Like, because I remember, he was just trying to shove that semi-melted spoon in that lock and try to unlock it?
Yep, he can bend a spoon, but with great difficulty. That's what he can do.
Yeah.
Yes. So they all... Cool. Yep, you have abilities, I guess.
Yeah.
So I can see that. I can see your disappointment in them. I guess for me, I'd probably have to go with... that's that question, and then I didn't even think about it. I can't go Mob because then it's like, oh, what, you just don't like the show? It's like, well. Honestly, can I be the most disappointed in Ritsu? Because I had so much hope for him, and then he just turns into this jackass with power. And then it's like, all your brother ever wanted to do was be your friend, and you basically told him to go fuck himself when you're like, all I cared about I was just inferior to you, so... I was afraid of my inferiority complex. And now that it's gone, I don't care about you. And it's like, what a jackass.
Yeah. And they tried to make that so important in that one episode where they were, trying to fight each other. But of course, Mob was like, oh, I'm such a good guy, so I can't fight back. But yeah, I mean, I understand where the story was going with Ritsu. Like the only reason he was able to truly awaken his power was because of, what was it, corruption and...
Well, it was guilt. It was the guilt for being corrupt and blaming somebody else, and that's why he got his powers.
Yeah. Episode 7, the emotions of corrupt and guilt is what awakened Ritsu. That's what I wrote down. So he kind of had to be a complete asshole in order to be like that, and that mindset ran for quite a while.
Yep.
And then when he finally got his powers, he was finally able to do stuff on his own. He no longer had to hold back in front of his brother, because the only reason they were trying to explain he was being nice to his brother was because he was afraid of him losing control.
Yeah, which, I mean, we know Mob. Mob isn't going to do that to his brother.
Right.
So it's just kind of like he was the most disappointing. And then I also have this feeling where he's going to get like pseudo brainwashed by Sho and join his team or something along those lines.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I had all this excitement for him. And once we got through the season, I'm like, and something bad's going to happen to him. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So it was just my expectations for him that caused my disappointment in him as well.
Right.
So he wasn't a bad character. I was just like, oh man, not this. So that's really all I had on him. But before we continue, let's get that break in.
No Robert De Niro responses.
I'm going to choose the monkeys just because I feel like I would have way more fun going to the zoo.
It actually takes great strength to defend what's fragile about you.
No, I think the government should pay for its people's basic needs because if you have people that are in good standing...
Yeah, but people are abusing the system. They're taking advantage of it. That's the problem.
If you ever look at the map of Antarctica, it's like a pie. I'm Zach Wiggin.
I'm Mark Petkov.
And you have just listened to a taste of Audio Pong.
And you're missing out.
From video games in the universe.
From philosophy and music.
We cover a lot of different topics with our unique points of view.
Kick back and listen in every Sunday at 9 a.m. or really whenever you like.
On Red Circle, Spotify, or your favorite podcast service.
Who knows what we'll talk about next? And as always,
have a metal life.
Hello, dear listeners. Do you enjoy playing video games with your best friends? Then I have the pod for you. I'm Philip, host of the Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. Each week, my co-host Nave and I break down a cooperative experience in gaming. And we are always looking for new co-op partners to join us. So come play with us on the Gaming Together podcast.
So I'm standing over this toilet taking a piss and I'm playing my Pokemon and I dropped it in the toilet. I remember the Game Boy just tumbling into water. And I remember screaming for my mom, trying to get this Game Boy
Wait,
out.
how old are you?
And she yelled at me.
Oh
I was
my
just,
god.
like, traumatized. I was like, no, my Pokemon.
That's Gaming Together, a cooperative podcast. Come on down, co-op partners.
And now that we're back from our break, Lance, do you have a favorite moment or fight in this season?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to my mind is going to be, what was it, the final episode where, well, I mean, it started in the second to final episode, but really the final episode where Reagan is being transferred power by Mob.
Yep.
And he's just fucking murking all of the Claw.
Yep.
And then he's just like, with such ease on everything, like all of these badass attacks are being thrown at him and he's just like swatting them away like nobody's business. And then at the same time as he's doing everything nonchalant, he's like giving them lessons at the same time. Like, here's how you got to be a better person. Don't do that. And
yeah, when he's got the Yusuke, the Sakurai, the guy with the sword, he's like, don't play with plastic swords.
Yeah, right.
Or don't play with swords. I think that's what he said. One of the two.
Yeah, and then he snapped it in half like it was plastic, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or it was a good thing this is plastic or something along those lines.
Yeah, he believed it was still plastic.
Yep.
Because they definitely made they took time to express that it started out as a plastic sword and he honed it into an actual sword.
Yep.
So
exactly.
But of course Reagan thought it was still plastic because he wasn't affected by the slash. So
yeah, that whole fight was hilarious, to be completely honest, because it's Murakai where Reagan just kind of like swipes his hand and then all of his shadow clones disappear.
Oh, the duplicating guy?
Yep.
Yeah, he was an interesting guy. I kind of wish he got a little bit more expressed, but I mean, we can talk about him in a moment. But did you have a favorite scene?
I would probably say my favorite fight would be the one with Mob and Hanazawa.
Yep, that was the second thing that was in my mind back at the school.
Yep. Because you see, I mean, Mob's disdain for fighting. You see kind of everything going on where he finally reaches 100% and they kind of lead up to it. You're like, well, what is 100%? Like, what's up with this percentage in the first couple episodes? And then you see where what Mob Psycho 100 actually means is where he's going 100% and kind of going insane.
Yeah, letting like a single emotion completely consume him.
Yep.
And then that's what unlocks his like unlimited power.
Which, I mean, is a good thing to think about. It's like you shouldn't let your anger and emotions build up so much that you just kind of go crazy. Mm-hmm. Because, let's be honest, if he were to just be open and honest with himself, he would be able to use these abilities at all times.
Right, kind of like how Teru would be. Because Teru's got, I mean, he's a super strong Esper.
Yep.
But at the same time, all of his emotions are considered, normal.
Yep.
But because he's not holding back anything like that, like...
He's basically at his limit all the time.
Right. Yeah, Mob isolates himself, and dude's always socially awkward.
Yep.
Like, at all times. He has no idea how to express, like, any emotion ever.
Yeah, he doesn't have that same confidence Hanazawa has.
I think confidence is a good word. That's what he's trying to improve.
Basically, that's the underlining thing Mob is really trying to improve is his self-confidence for things other than his psychic abilities, because he believes, thanks to Reagan, that he is not any more special than anybody else just because he has psychic abilities.
Yeah.
Which I also think is a flaw that Reagan had, because if he would have said, hey, these abilities are great, they make you a kind of like a unique individual, it doesn't make you more special, but it does make you a somebody with a specialty. Like, there is a difference between just being ultimately special, kind of like what Hanazawa thinks, and just having a special ability.
Right, yeah, because they were, like, Reagan was trying to explain how everyone has talents that are a little bit better than any random person.
Yep.
And his psychic abilities is just another random talent that he shouldn't, like, go...
You shouldn't be an asshole with?
Yeah, basically. Like, yeah, don't pull a Teru and try to make yourself a god because of it.
Yep. Like, it's okay to be unique, be special, but that doesn't mean you're better than everybody else.
Right, yeah, just be a good person. That's kind of Reagan's underlining thing is just be a good person.
And it's great. It's a great teaching. He just did it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Per Reagan's self.
Personality.
Yeah, definitely. So I also want to kind of talk about, did you have a favorite ability, like one ability? Did you think any was better than the other? Because as you can tell, all these Espers have unique abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, if you just think about everybody's base ability, everybody was pretty freaking awesome.
Yep.
Right now, the one that's coming to my mind was that claw member with the fire ability.
Okay.
I don't remember his name.
The Miyagawa.
Okay, yeah, that one.
Yep.
He's the one that had blondish hair, kind of pointed backwards, and he had long black nails.
Spiky hair, spiky blonde hair. Yep.
I don't know about you, but when I see him, I was instantly thinking of Momotaro from Yu Yu Hakusho with
I can see that. Yep.
With the beast form of the phoenix or whatever. Anyway, his firepower was pretty cool.
Yep.
Dude ignited the entire battlefield in fire. And I think that intense fire, I don't know, I just love firepower. So that's really an attraction for me. But it sounded awesome. And the way he was defeated by Teru, swapping that force field to make himself engulfed in his own fire in the end, I thought that was pretty creative and cool.
That was really clever, yeah.
Yeah, he's coming to my mind right now. I mean, I can go on, but what would be another favorite ability that you have?
Oh, man. I really like Sho's ability. It's just his ability to reverse any and all psychic abilities is what I took it as. We don't know for sure.
Right, yeah, that's kind of where we're at with Season 1 for now. I mean, just so everyone knows, we don't know anything about Season 2 or 3.
Yep. Yeah, this is the first time either of us have watched this series. So I picked it mainly because, I saw Season 3 was out, wanted to give it a shot, see what's going on. I see a lot of people really love this show. Mm-hmm. So I was like, fuck it, let's go.
It's been long enough. Let's just give it a try.
Yeah, so that's why I picked this show. And then it was kind of interesting, the concept of the show, everybody having psychic abilities instead of other typical shonen abilities.
Right. Like, they definitely scratched the surfaces of shonen, but at the same time, they're weird about it.
Yeah, they're unique in their own way. I would probably have to go with shows. I also thought Ishiguro, who was the leader of the 7th Division, his ability was really cool. He had gravity.
The Black Orb Gravity guy?
Yep.
Who we all thought was a girl at first, and then he turned out to be some crazy-looking...
old man.
Semi-toothed old man. What was that phrase he kept yelling at the end? I thought that was, like...
Lantz in his handy-dandy notebook.
Oh, okay. Apparently I didn't write it down.
I mean, he does say, I am...
But he said it in a high-pitched voice.
Is it, I am this great... Even so, why are you not acknowledging it to the world? I am a special being. Treat me like one.
I mean, he definitely did say that, but I meant like there was like one word he was screaming in a super high pitched voice. Is like it was something like destruction or.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I'm drawing a blank on what that word was.
Okay, whatever that word was. Like typically, I don't care for them reusing that the
like
same
a catchphrase.
Word does this weird catchphrase, and they say it in a weird voice. But the way that this dude was saying it for whatever reason, and I don't know, maybe it's the vibe of the show, but like I fell for it, and I was laughing every time he said it. And he was just trying to, explode and gravitate everything.
Yeah. So I did enjoy his abilities. I like gravity abilities.
Oh, it was super cool. I was totally on board with everything about him.
Yeah, because it's like the guy from Plunder, but the only difference is he can't make like a black hole with his abilities. Ishiguro can't. Unlike the other guy who can essentially make a black hole.
Wait, the guy from
Plunder.
Plunder couldn't make a black
No,
hole?
he can.
Oh,
versus Ishiguro, that because a shell makes the ability, it's like if this was a real black hole, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Oh, right, because it was engulfed in like psychic ability, so of course it wouldn't be able to replicate it.
Yes. So that was that's kind of what that reminded me of. I did not see his appearance being the way it was, which is
no. If anything, I would have imagined a more like beat up, gross looking faced woman, but to show that it was some dude for whatever reason, yeah.
Yeah, definitely threw me off. Yeah. Is there any other Scar members you kind of want to talk about? Because we kind of talked about
a couple of them.
Yeah.
I mean, just to go a little bit more in depth, I mean, let's talk about Yusuke Sakurai. He's the guy who... he turned a plastic sword into a real sword. He's the guy with the sword ability.
So he turned do you think that was a plastic gun that he turned into a real gun then?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess if we're going to follow the same lineage deal, definitely. That was definitely a BB gun, a whatever that what must have turned into some...
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
I can't say it was a badass gun, because that gun definitely exploded a little bit more powerful than what a normal gun might have looked.
Yeah.
That was cool. Just to throw in the funny part with Reagan, and like they're trying to talk about their like childhoods or whatever, and Sakurai was like, "Oh yeah, I was abandoned and I had to let my hatred grow, and that's what gave me my psychic abilities." And Reagan's like, "Yeah, one day I was sent to school without a lunch, and yeah, we're bros now."
Yeah, we're the same. We had the same childhood. Yeah. No, we did not.
Those are completely opposite extremes. So I thought that was funny.
A lot of kids go without lunch.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a sad truth.
Yeah, but it was supposed to be funny.
Yeah, it was definitely funny. It's Reagan bringing things into comedy. So Sakurai was very interesting. I mean, I guess let's preface real quick. Like, none of these dudes are dead, so I wonder if we're going to see more of them in the future. I'm
going to go with no, because I mean, Sakurai gave up. Murakai gave up. Technically, Miyagawa, who's the fire user, he didn't give up, but he got burned to a crisp. But he's not doing nothing.
Oh yeah, I don't expect much out of him.
And Matsu, who is the evil spirit user,
right?
He doesn't have evil spirits, so
yeah,
because Dimple ate them all.
Yeah, Dimple ate them all. So I mean, he could come around and like try to catch more and grow himself, but he's still going to be super weak, so it doesn't matter. I don't expect anything out of him anymore. Which, speaking of that, the poison vase or vase or poison urn there was that whole concept. I mean, we've seen that in the past before. I don't remember which anime right now that I'm thinking of, but we've definitely covered
You're thinking of Tokyo Ghoul.
Oh, yes, that's where it is.
With the Chinese centipede, I think is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, it's a fun concept to think about. You know, it's definitely survival of the fittest at its maximum right there. Like, number one guy's gonna come out on top, and then we got to see Dimple coming out on top there. So
In a funny way where he comes out burping.
yeah, because he like
Ate 'em all.
supposedly ate them all.
Yep.
Not killed them, but ate them. So I would like to imagine that because of that alone, Dimple has become stronger.
Yeah, Dimple is strong, but he's going to be around Mob, so it doesn't matter how strong he gets.
Right, because he still can't overpower him.
No.
He couldn't even overpower Ritsu as a beginner awakener.
Beginner Esper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just awakened his abilities,
Yeah.
so however you want to phrase that.
Dimple is an interesting character because they keep making mention that he's this evil spirit, but then they just kind of let him hang around.
Yeah, I mean, because at the same time, Dimple himself is also a Sagashi. He's also a con artist.
Yep.
Because he thinks that, well, in the very beginning, they were explaining that, yeah, if I make Mob think that I'm this good guy, I'm helping him out, I'm giving him good instructions, and then he'll let his guard down, he can take over, and then he'll possess a super powerful body.
Which will never happen, obviously.
No, definitely not. Dimple's going to be this guy that's going to be like a support character. He's going to be in the background. Like, who's that? Oh, crap. Who's that teddy bear from Bleach?
Oh, Cone.
Cone, yeah. I see him being the Cone character of this anime.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
It's kind of a lot of similarities going on there.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities. And he's just going to kind of be I don't want to say plot filler, but he's just going to kind of help push through certain things.
Yeah. I do have high expectations of Dimple in the future.
Yep.
Kind of like how he helped Ritsu push forward with his abilities.
Yep.
Like, kind of like with Dragon Ball Z with unlocking potential.
Yep.
I kind of expect Dimple to temporarily possess all of these shitty crew.
I could see that. That'd be a good idea.
Like, one by one, so that he can help them, I don't know, gain experience and it like boost up their levels in some sort and like let them
kind of help them truly tap into their abilities.
Right. So I would like to see that in a way. You know, that's kind of like why I wanted to just dive into Dimple. Like, I think he's just going to be that middleman. He helps the weak get more powerful, and dude always just stays in the middle, and he can never fully get that super powerful body that because dude wants to be a god, and he's never going to be that god.
No, he will never be anything beyond kind of what he is, which I don't really have any issues with. Mm-hmm. Because obviously he's not strong enough to do anything. I thought his introduction was kind of cool, where, you know, he essentially was a cult leader.
With LOL.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was totally on board with that. It's always fun. Never mind, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, we'll just go with that. Yes, I completely agree with what you're saying. So being the cult leader, he's trying to use his psychic abilities to gain this huge following, and that obviously doesn't work. Mm-hmm. And I had no problems with that, really, because, you know, it helped reintroduce what Mob was trying to do, which is gain popularity, kind of grow some self-confidence, because right before this, he joined the Body Improvement Club, mm-hmm. which I also thought was funny because, you know, the Telepathy Club is getting threatened to disband, and the only person they can really get is Mob. And he's like, well, I guess I can join a club, but I'm going to join the Telepathy Club, or the Body Improvement Club, excuse me. And it's way out in left field. Like, what? Why the fuck are you trying to join the Body Improvement Club?
Yeah, the most opposite person that you would imagine joining.
Yes.
Which brings to the comedy of the show.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of one-liners, kind of way out in left field moments. So that was pretty good. I did enjoy that part. I'm trying to think.
Are we missing? Oh, we got two more Scar members to talk about. I mean, you did kind of bring up Murakai. He was the guy that was able to, like, duplicate himself.
Yep.
We really didn't see much about him.
No, I thought it was just kind of funny where Reagan's like, what the fuck are you wearing? Like, what's up with the shoulder pads? What's up with the shit on your head? Like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
His abilities were kind of cool where he could, speaking of Yu Yu Hakusho, it reminded me of the Saint Beast, the last Saint Beast. Suzaku?
Suzaku, yep.
Yeah, it reminded me of Suzaku, Like, even the beginning where it's like, here's me. All right, now there's 7 of me. There was even 7 of him in the beginning when it first gets cloned of himself. So it's like, oh, look, there's Suzaku.
Yeah, exactly. I think this anime definitely borrowed a lot of tropes like that.
Yes.
But I mean, dude was cool. He never got to have a true moment of like badassness. He was always this background guy who he just got taken care of immediately and got an ethical beatdown by Reagan. So that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was, his ability was cool though. I did enjoy it.
Could have definitely been better.
Yep.
But the other two, we have this character sheet says Tsuchiya. She's the martial artist. Basically.
She's the martial artist that can harden her body using psychic abilities, I think is what it said.
Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah. She was able to put her... They didn't call it ki in this, but she was able to concentrate her psychic abilities into certain points, and she was able to just be a powerhouse. So yeah, she's powerful. And I guess one big thing to bring out about her was the fight scene that she had with Mob, where Mob was like tearing up. He's like, yeah, I was taught to never hit a girl because that makes you less of a person. Less of a person, yeah. Cause
the lowest of the low.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then she was like human enough to be like, hey, fight me as a fighter. Don't judge me based on my gender or whatever. Yep. And that was totally cool. And like that kind of like wiped the slate and like, okay, let's have a real fight. And like I did appreciate that scene. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, she didn't try like playing it off or playing into it where she essentially tries to beat up Mob, even though Mob is willingly not trying to fight her.
Right. Like there's no handicap. Let's just fight because we're gonna fight.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, I appreciated her for that one.
Yeah, and you got to see more Mob, especially in that fight where you see more of his morals coming out, which he kind of believes everything Reagan tells him as 100% factual, and he almost lives by everything Reagan tells him.
Yep.
So I feel like that can be something that might get played off into in the future where it's going to come back to bite him, where he's just living by Reagan's teachings, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, like run away, don't use your powers against other humans at least.
Yep.
Right, yeah. I would like to see that one come to bite him in the butt because, of course, that's going to add to the drama of the series.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, we have a couple more scars to talk about. Who's that doll chick that was using the wooden figures?
Mukai.
Yep. She was flushed out like super quick. I think they could have totally gone more in depth with her.
They could have, but I mean, they basically did everything that they could have with her in the short period of time where it's like, she can bring an infinite number of dolls. But the problem is you're going against Mob, who really has no qualms against fighting non-living things.
That's true.
And he can obliterate all these things in an instant.
Right.
So against Mob, she's useless. She really is.
That's true. Maybe we can, like, if she were to come back in the future, like maybe they can like make some super ass powered doll and just takes control of it and murks whatever's in her way.
Yeah, kind of like Fire Force, where there's that what chick was it? Where she could connect, was it not plasma, but electrification? She controlled electricity, right? The one that controlled dolls? Was that her?
I don't think anything plasma. She had nothing to do with plasma.
No, because that's what. Oh man, I'm drawing a blank on his name, but the
knight in shining armor.
Yeah,
knight in shining armor guy.
Yes, the knight.
That was the plasma user.
Yep.
But yeah, same situation. Yeah, that same woman who had control of dolls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Where it's if she can create these super powerful dolls that kind of are stronger than anything that any other psychic users are going to be able to use. Maybe she's got some like Esper-esque materials. I don't know, something. Mm-hmm. That'd be interesting, especially as a villain is concerned.
Right. So they could dive into her a little bit more, but I think this anime is just gonna overlook her as just another random ass fake leader.
Yep.
I have no expectations.
So then after that, we also have, speaking of useless people, we have Takuchi, who was the guy that was standing next to Ishiguro. And basically he said, once he gets serious, his face changes. And then you see him get one punched into the wall and getting the O face and passing out.
Yeah. Yeah, so
that was basically it. That's all he was.
He's 100% forgettable.
Yep. He is forgettable because Lance, you forgot about him. So
yeah, we were talking earlier. I had no. I like to watch the show and then I like to listen to it at work, and both times it didn't even faze me. Yeah, he was so forgettable.
Under 5 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, that was completely it.
So he was basically useless. Speaking of another useless person, was the Turda, the guy with the air whips that gets defeated by Mob.
Teruda.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, he was the one that infiltrated, not Teru, but the rich guy, the one that started the Awakening Club.
Yep.
Teru was like, don't worry, they're going to come at us because we made a scene. And then Teruda comes there and he's going to supposedly try to interrogate everybody and put everybody in their place. And
then he starts getting like waterboarded and...
Exactly. And everything flips 180 and he's the one that's getting his ass handed to him. But yeah, he had the middle finger whips going, and then Teru totally copied that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was really cool, where he's like, oh yeah, I figured out how to do this. Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he just takes out all the guards.
Yeah, it's just a technique you learn, and you just learn and adapt. Yeah, so Teruda, yeah, he had like black and white kind of hair going on, and his beard was the same deal.
Yeah, it was weird. He was funny in the sense that, he got easily taken out.
Mm-hmm. He was basically a nobody.
He was.
Whenever they came down to it.
And then the last person we haven't talked about is Muto, which is the guy with the super long face, and he can essentially make you see bad things happen.
Right. Yeah, like he's in the anime, he was the one that took one of one of the brothers.
Yep.
And one of the brothers refused to say that he was a psychic. He took him off to the side and
fake stabbed him.
Blood was definitely there. Whatever happened, he didn't officially die. So
no, I think it was all a part of his vision where he made the other individuals see that there was blood on the knife and that he was screaming and dead.
Oh,
well, I think it was all
because the anime showed him dragging his bloody body.
Yeah, I think it was all a part of his ability,
but all part of the vision.
Yep.
Okay, sure. Yeah, because I guess that was a little bit of a confusion. But like you said, you have to realize that there's the brotherly bond where visions are being crossed over between the two.
Yes. And then he also was the reason why Mob got caught and went psycho at the same time.
Right. Because Mob saw everybody dead and bloody.
Well, it's just his brother.
Oh, sorry. More specifically.
Yeah. He saw his brother basically bleeding and dying. And so he went psycho, released his ability. And because he released his ability, Sho was able to reverse it onto Mob, and that's how they got captured.
Wait, are you talking about the time when when Mob transferred his power over to Reagan?
Before that.
Oh.
When they got captured, and then, when they got captured. Before they got captured, that's how Mob got captured. Was because he got his, basically he went psycho, went 100%, and he went and attacked Muto, and then was able to kind of deflect or did Mob just pass out because he attacked Muto, who caused him to see the vision? Was that what it was?
I think Mob passed out.
Okay.
I think he went 100% and
attacked the cause of the basically vision? Distress.
Yeah.
And then did what he always does after he goes 100% and he just passed out.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than Sho, because I would have been super disappointed. Because the whole purpose of Mob is that, he's this ultimate, most powerful Esper once he reaches 100%. And then Sho, in the background, is able to deflect Mob's ability without really even trying. I feel like they would have made Sho too strong of a person if he would have that ability without trying.
Right. Yeah, I think Sho is more of like a negator / evader because he had the teleporting thing.
Yep.
That's why I referred to him as like the Asuka of anti.
Yep. That would make sense. That would make a lot of sense.
But yeah, I think, I mean, Mob definitely beat him on his own on accident.
Did he?
Like when the dude was trying to show him the visions and then...
Oh, I'm not talking about Muto. I'm talking about Sho.
Oh, no, yeah, I don't think Sho had anything. I think he was just watching everything.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
And before we close out the claws, we still have Scarface, or, well... Everyone has Scarface. Everyone's a Scarface, but the ones who the dude who was in the hood and has all the piercings, Megumo Koyama, the one who has, I don't want to call him whips, but like he was able to like he got this energy built. He whipped energy around his arms and stuff.
Yeah, it was almost like I'm trying to think. Almost concrete punch kind of things where he could just put it around his arms and then make it super solid.
Right. He can concentrate his powers into specific parts of his body.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which mainly his arms and I think his legs.
Yeah. So I liked him for that. Like the ability to concentrate your energy into like single
points was really good.
Yeah.
But as you see, when Mob just kind of flings them all over the place, it's very one-sided. Like, if you're going to straight up fight somebody, super good. But if you're fighting somebody who has telekinesis, you're less than useless.
Right, yeah, like physical versus, like, I don't want to call it, not aerial, but, like, something that has more distance.
Yep.
Distance is usually going to win, as long as nothing penetrates that distance, I guess.
Yep. And Megumu does not have that ability.
No. I mean, he's super strong. I like him.
Yeah, and it was good to see, Mob kind of getting his shit rocked, if you could put it, in the first meeting.
In the first meeting, in the beginning, yeah, in that alleyway. Mm-hmm. And making all those other random gangs, like, bow down to him.
Yeah, because that
was comical.
It was one nice thing for Mob, because it's like, hey, these abilities are good, but you need to be a more well-rounded person, and that is how you're going to be able to defeat these bad guys, not just passively using your abilities. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah, I think that kind of concludes all of our Scar members here.
Yep. Do you have anybody specific you want to talk about?
One quick thing that I just want to throw like an LOL moment around.
Okay.
Tsubomi, the attraction girl, the girl he was attracted to.
Yep.
Like the 2 times in the first episode and the final episode of season 1, where Mob was looking at her, and then like she was with 2 friends at all times, and like one was a potato head, one was like a pepper head. Like it just showed like these 2 other people mean absolute shit, so let's just make them look funny, and then let's focus in on who he really likes. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it's Shigeo only cares about Tsuboni. That's all he cares about.
Right.
Everybody else is useless.
Yeah, so that was a comical moment. Like in episode 1 was like, why the hell are you doing this? But then as you get to the final episode of this season, you're like, okay, well, I've appreciated enough of this.
We've gotten to know you well enough that it's like, okay, now it makes sense.
Like the way this animation's going, like, okay, I understand why you're doing what you're doing, and now it's funny.
Yep.
So I thought the final episode where they showed it again, then it was absolutely comical.
I agree.
A couple more random ass characters like the reporter girl, the telepathy club. I mean, they're basically nobodies at this point, so I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they bring any more into it. Mm-hmm. They come a play later on. I feel like the reporter girl is going to, but I don't know too much about the telepathy club except for like comedic points.
Right.
So I know we've been bringing up recommendations and stuff like that. How do you feel about this show as a whole? Like, would you recommend this show to people, or what do you think?
As a whole, the way I started this anime and the way I finished this anime, I had completely different thoughts.
Okay.
Like, when I started this anime, I thought this animation style is like low quality, super shitty kind of deal. Like I thought this was like something you'd find on Adult Swim after midnight.
Okay.
Like
some 1 a.m. kind of Adult Swim.
Right. Like just that stupid animation that's just like slapstick funny.
Okay. Yep.
And then after, just following it through its entirety,
Yep.
I did start to appreciate it a little bit more.
Okay.
I guess ultimately I would give season 1 maybe a 7 out of 10. Just because I grew into it.
Okay.
I gave it its chance.
Yep.
And it went from like
Meh.
a 1 or a 2. And then the story was decent.
Yep.
It continued growing. I do have more expectations.
Okay.
And I want to see those expectations, and that's kind of why I'm going to give it a higher grade.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave it at that. So that's why, like, I don't care for this animation.
Yep.
The animation's whatever. The story's fine, but I am still semi-curious on the rest of the story itself. So because of that, I'll give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
How do you feel about this?
I kind of went meh the whole time. This really isn't my cup of tea, you could say, where the whole kind of stupid funny, like I'll laugh at certain points, but it's not going to draw me in. The story was good. I had no problems with it, but it reminded me a lot of like One Punch Man, where it's like you had this good animation and then it went to like something you would draw in high school, where it's like, yeah, I can see you doing well, but what the fuck are you, like, you do it in 5 minutes and you call it a day. And that's just not for me. Like, there's too much of it to captivate me and keep drawing me into the whole series. If you love One Punch Man, you're going to love this show. Like, that's kind of how it is. I honestly didn't care for One Punch Man. I watched about half of the first season of One Punch Man. I'm like, yep, here it is. This is what it is. And I have no problems with the show. Like, if you like the show, you think it's great, more power to you. But it's just not for me. And you're always going to find these shows that everybody loves that you're going to be like, not really for me.
Right.
And there's nothing truly wrong with this show. It's just, I don't really care for Mob, to be completely honest.
Is it because of that, like, antisocial person who doesn't know how to, like, be a person?
It's kind of a drawback. You can say that, where it's like you're looking the whole time. You want to get to 100%, and then he gets to 100%, and you're like, yep, there it is. Okay, that's interesting. Like the first, it's almost a letdown.
To pull us back, I mean, I guess maybe one of the biggest pullaways from this entire series is when Mob goes 100%, when he goes to that Super Saiyan state.
Yep.
And
he's there, and then it's like, so one of the biggest things is a lot of times I'll watch these shows when I work out. If a show is really good, I'll kind of forget that I'm working out.
Exactly, yeah. It encourages you, and time just flies by. And so I'm in the same boat as you. Like, I'm working out at the same time when I'm watching. And it didn't do that for me. Like, I'm like, oh, yep, that's happening. And now I'm back to what I'm doing. Like, that's how it went. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I have no problems with the show. It just wasn't, it just didn't do anything for me. And that's for various aspects. I thought it was good. I'd probably give it like a 5.5. Like, it wasn't a bad show. It just wasn't great. Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like when I saw, I'd seen some people on the internet being like, this is a perfect 10 out of 10. I'm like, all right, I don't see it, but cool. That's what you think. That's you do you. You do you, boo. And I'm just going to sit over here and not.
Right.
And yeah, so it's
right. Like what we've said in the past, like we're shonen guys. We like that intense action. It, like, gets us emotionally invested, pushes us to that next level. Like, if I'm like what I like to say, if I'm running on a treadmill and I'm watching this, and if I can run at a really good speed and then be fully engulfed in what I'm watching, and then 100% forget that like I'm running. And then all of a sudden I know 5 minutes has passed by and like...
You're like, oh shit, yeah, that's right. This is where I'm at.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't even have to be shonen. Like, Your Lie in April, I got really invested in. There was nothing that got me super drawn in, invested into the show.
Right. This is definitely one of those shows that you can watch an episode here, an episode there.
Yep.
This isn't something that you need to like...
Oh my God, I need to go to the next episode.
Right.
And like even, so I started watching Dress Up Darling. I started watching, just because I was like, yeah, fuck it. I need something just to watch. So I started watching My Dress Up Darling because I wanted something I wanted to see what all the hype was about.
Yeah, I know nothing about that one.
And I mean, I got into it. It's a pervy, funny slice of life.
Okay.
And I got into it. I understand, what was captivating about it. So all I'm really trying to say is that it doesn't have to be like super action packed for me to get invested. It just needs to have an impact for me to get invested. And I didn't have that impact. And it might have been like some of the points where I showed you, Lantz, where it was like, did they do this in 5 minutes or did they do this in an hour? Kind of panels in the drawings where I was like, this is what I'm reading right now. And I think that was just kind of a small deterrent for me.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the quality.
Yep.
Yeah, you sent me a couple screenshots of the manga. And
Yep.
the quality is so subpar.
Yep.
But I think what truly brings this show into perspective is imagination and comedy.
Yeah, I think the concept is awesome. It's just not for me. And that's no problems. I have no problems with admitting that it's just not for me.
Yeah. This is a good anime. I'm going to leave it at that. Like,
Yep.
I feel you on that one. It's not my cup of tea as well. And
it's definitely not something, it's not even something I would have picked up if like we weren't doing this podcast and we're trying to do all these shows and it's like, oh, fuck it. Let's try something different. If I wasn't trying something different, I would have never watched this show.
Yeah, good point. If we weren't doing what we're doing, I would have watched the first couple episodes and
been like, all right, cool. Nope.
Cool. Yep. I would have dropped it within the first what a lot of podcasts out
Three.
They give a 3 episode limit. I would have been that person to drop it.
Yeah, and I had to push through it. Because like I said, just like One Punch Man, where I'll watch something, Attack on Titan, which I'm glad I finished. I watched through Attack on Titan. I think that was more of everybody said it was the best thing that came to anime, where it kind of was like, no, I don't think so. It was really good. I think Attack on Titan is very good. Not the best thing I've ever watched, but very good.
Right.
And I think that's probably what would have deterred me from continuing Mob Psycho, is that I kept seeing all these people that were like, oh my God, this show's amazing. I'm like, it kind of reminds me of like just like you said, some late night Adult Swim Toonami shows. And I just never really got into those.
Yeah, kind of like
Squibbillies.
Oh no. What's the one with Frylock and Meatball?
Something Hunger Force. Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Yeah. So much like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Like, I mean, not to go to the extreme where Aqua Teen Hunger Force's animation is like piss poor and it's just really like South Park-esque, kind of like things moving or jumping around.
Yep. But that's another thing. I didn't get into South Park.
Oh, you're not a South Park fan?
I'm not a huge South Park fan. No, I
guess I'm a South Park fan because of the comedy.
I enjoy some of the comedy, but I can't watch an episode as a whole.
Oh no,
no, it just gets too stupid.
It is. I love the stupid though, so I guess that's where it gets.
And I'm not trying to say Mob Psycho is stupid or that's how they get through, but it's just like that brand of comedy, that Aqua Teen-esque animation. It's just not for me.
Right.
It's whatever.
That's totally fine. I mean, everybody has their own brand of tea, if we're going to stick on this concept.
Yes, brand of tea. I am only the high-end tea. I do. I mean, I have stewed my own tea, and it's so much better than like off the shelf tea. Like I went to there was a place in Washington that I went to that sold like all these other like fresh tea. Man, it was so much better. I will say.
Well, was it in like one of those mesh style things, and it was a bowl full of tea?
No,
and then they submerge it into the water.
So basically, they give you all your tea, like all your tea leaves and all of your basically floral elements together, and they make you put it in like a coffee press, but in a tea press, and then you make your own tea that way. Okay, so then you extract it the same way like you would coffee, but from the tea leaves and everything. Okay,
so I mean, yeah, kind of the same thing. I mean, there's this place in Green Bay called Carvana, which is
same concept, but just
great place in Green Bay.
Just same concept. We'll just put it that way, but out in Washington instead of here in Wisconsin.
Right.
So and it's fresh tea. I can drink fresh tea. If it's not fresh tea, I'm like, man, this stuff is gross.
That's a funny perspective because, yeah, I mean, the fresher the better.
Yep.
And if you do it right, then it tastes amazing.
Yes.
And I absolutely loved my fresh tea the way I got it. I mean, like I was just saying, mine was in a mesh of a bowl.
Okay.
And it was submerged and covered, and everything just simmered kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Way.
Same way where you put hot water in it and you kind of let it stew and then separate from the water into your tea. Yeah, it's really it's much better that way versus just kind of buying like tea bags and just dipping your old tea.
Yeah. And our way, we're basically putting our pinky up. We're just a little bit more fancy.
Fancy.
It does add a little bit more quality, and the flavor does boost.
Drastically changes.
Yeah, it is much better doing it that way.
Yes,
I've definitely learned that one.
So it's I forgot where we were going with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where we're going with everything.
Get back on.
We're rambling on with some random bullshit. Let's just get back to the podcast and let's just jump into some Matt's manga mentions. NANI?
All right. So for the manga mentions, for anybody that wants to start reading after season 1, you can start off on chapter 51. So the first season is 50 chapters. I will say for a 50 chapter anime, there's not a whole lot that's left out or changed, which is kind of everything that you read is everything you're going to get in the season, minus a handful of little things.
Okay.
Like that, the first couple boss fights that you see, like the quote unquote boss fights that you see, they don't happen in the manga.
Like none of them?
No.
Like not even that like biker gang?
No, I don't think so. So with the spirit fights don't happen. So like the first couple the first 2 episodes, I think is what it is.
I guess what I'm thinking about is the biker gang that slipped on the banana and his whole biker gang like died for that stupid ass like Mario Kart reason.
Nope, you don't see that.
Like none of that even happens?
No, it doesn't happen.
That whole tunnel?
Yep, that whole thing. The whole thing.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So it's basically the beginning is they kind of just start off as mob and then continue on with what's going on in the story. Like it's kind of that almost feels sub-quest-esque. Like if you think of it that way, that's essentially what it is. So it's not in the manga.
Oh, I guess I kind of appreciated those side quest shit. Like that kind of adds to the comedy.
Another thing that happens is Dimple straight out talks about, in his mind, of course, taking over Mob's body. Mm-hmm. Unlike in the anime where he's kind of like, hey, work with me, we'll do these things. And then later on, he makes mention of how he tries to take over Mob's body, like he tries to possess him, which in the beginning of that conversation, he's like, hey, do these things, and thought bubbles, he's thinking, do these things, trust me so I can take over your body. Not just do these things, trust me, and then eventually I can take over your body. Where like it's instant, he's talking about taking over his body.
Okay. I mean, I see the similarities, but
you can infer what Dimple is saying in the anime or what his intentions are in the anime.
Yeah.
But he makes mention of his intentions in the manga.
Right.
Which is just kind of a different concept of the same thing. One thing is Dimple says that the number, so you remember after Dimple gets defeated, he's looking at the picture of Mob and this new cult group, and you see the number at the bottom. You see, you don't, there's no actual numbers, but they make mention of a phone number at the bottom. It's in episode like 4 or 5. It's right after Mob beats LOL and just disbands it.
Yes, that brings memories, like after the cult was destroyed, and then they're like, hey, we're looking for this person so that he can be our new leader. I thought that was
this
just
number.
Right. I thought that was just a subtitle.
So, no, there wasn't a number per se, but Dimple makes mention that it was his phone number when he was a physical being.
Oh,
like
so-
it was his phone number.
Okay, so that number is directly related
It
to
was
Dimple,
related to Dimple,
Dimple
yes.
himself. Okay,
Yeah, so
interesting.
that's kind of funny.
Okay.
You see the telepathy group attempting to gain powers. They hike up this mountain where aliens have quote unquote visited and given other people telepathic abilities.
Okay.
Of course, it's the head girl reading all these books.
Right.
Her name is Tome Kurata. Kurata, yes. So Kurata, she's reading these books and saying, hey, this aliens have appeared here. You need to do these certain things in order to bring on aliens. And so then you witness them climbing the mountain to attempt to basically bring aliens to them. Yeah, no aliens appear in this show.
Oh, I mean, you can't expect that much.
So it's just kind of bringing the telepathy club more in focus of the manga. Nothing happens. So it's just kind of a funny little moment. So Mob makes a joke to, I think it's either Ritsu or, yeah, it's to Ritsu about Dimple, about how saying he's very clingy, where he's not a bad spirit. He's just very clingy.
Yeah.
Just a little joke when it comes to Mob.
Which is very relevant. I mean, dude hangs around because Dimple, because Dimple has a goal in mind to take over someone powerful so that he can become a god. So
It's
why
not
he's clingy.
Yes, but it's not Ritsu. It is Hanazawa that he's talking to, because Hanazawa's like, hey, what's going on with that spirit hanging on you? Do I need to eliminate him? And he's like, no, he's just clingy.
Oh, yeah, in the very beginning, yeah.
Yep.
I think, now that kind of rings a little bit of a bell. I think they might have made mention like, oh, yeah, I'm just being haunted by this guy. It makes no difference.
Yeah, so in the manga, they make a joke where he's saying that he's just being clingy instead of being haunted.
Okay.
Then the pot of happiness does happen in the manga, but it's like almost a half chapter, you could call it, where it'd be like, all right,
happiness, the poison,
the pot of happiness. No, it's the one where like Mob, quote unquote, breaks the pot and now owes these people 500 million or 5 million yen.
Oh, those con
artists.
con artists
Yes.
who wanted our boy to break the pot so that they would owe him for that pot for being broken. So yeah, it was just a huge con. Yeah,
it was kind of like a spin-off episode, like a filler episode. So it wasn't quote unquote filler. It was a part of the manga, but it was like a side quest. So that does happen, but it's like, all right, and now the book is over. Here's some extra things that I've thought about, and we'll just add it to the manga.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely entertaining.
Yes.
I mean, we definitely gave Reagan the thumbs up for being like, hey, if you're gonna con my boy, then I'm gonna fucking con you for.
I know how this con works.
Exactly. I'm gonna make you owe me for hurting my body and emotional damage and physical damage, and you broke you ruined my clothes, and now you owe me all this stuff.
You wrinkled my shirt. Here's 1 million yen.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're even. Go fuck yourself.
Yep. And then, so when Hanazawa goes into space, it's just him, right? In the anime?
Yeah, he gets blasted through the clouds, and he's just sitting by himself.
So in the manga, everyone that's there is in space.
Damn, that whole gang?
Everyone.
Oh, damn.
So it's kind of, and he's kind of just like, yeah. So he does the same things, but then you see all these little bodies in the background.
Okay, I would have liked to see that in the anime. That would have been a little bit more comical.
It would have been.
So the anime focuses more on Teru, but the manga fucking shoots everyone up.
Yep.
And okay, so that's super funny.
Then towards the end, when they're having the Reagan and Ishigaru are having the fight / talk, and then all the underlings from Claw, Reagan and Ishigaru are having the fight, and then Reagan kind of tells all the underlings from Claw to run away. Well, that doesn't necessarily happen. He just protects all the underlings from getting hurt. Like, they don't run away. They're still there the whole time.
I mean, in the anime, they kind of do that because Reagan's like, all right, everybody run away.
Yeah.
And then, like, all the walls and the ceiling collapse and shit happens. Like, the underlings just kind of, like, disappear.
Yeah, so that doesn't really happen in the manga, which, it's kind of whatever. And that whole speech where they kind of are like, oh, man, maybe we're being, quote-unquote, brainwashed into believing what we're believing. That part doesn't really happen.
Okay.
Not really pertinent, just kind of, it is a change from the manga to the anime. And then the other change that happens is that last episode where they're going to look for that demonic possessed slug thing.
In the final episode?
Yeah, in the final episode, that doesn't happen either.
Oh, that's just complete fluff?
Yeah, that's complete fluff.
Interesting, okay.
But the other things happen, like basically it ends with his brother re-bending the spoon when Mob bends the spoon when he's trying to eat. And then you have Ritsu basically like, here, brother, give me the spoon. Rebends it and gives it back to him.
Yep.
That happens, but then it continues on with what would be season 2.
Okay.
So, man, and then that's it. That's really all that's left.
Okay, so nothing too dramatic.
Nothing drastic between the two. Just some kind of beginning and end things that are different.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's really all I got as far as manga mentions are concerned. Lance, do you have anything else you want to bring up?
No, I do have some expectations out of season 2. Supposedly season 3 was a hit.
Yep.
So I would, and that honestly is why we decided to cover season 1 to begin with, is because
season 3 was like super hyped up, rave reviews. Everybody loved it. So I guess we'll see.
We'll see. So stay tuned for when we eventually do season 2 and work our way through anime. I mean, we got a million anime to cover, so
yeah,
we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, hopefully. You want to close this out?
Yep. So that's another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. Again, make sure you follow the Facebook and Instagram page of The Animes Show and follow us there because we will be posting some of our content there as well. Give them some likes on everything they're doing because the Anime Show definitely includes a lot of fun anime content. And if you followed us this far, please give our podcast a thumbs up and a follow because that'll help our community grow and that'll make everybody happy. Until next time, we'll see you guys.
Have a good one.